and welcome to our Medical Minute. This is episode 39, sponsored by Kroger Health. My name's Jill Hunt, and as you can see, I am hosting with all of my friends today. I've kind of kicked everybody off the show, and we are doing a fun on location with our very own Steve Abbott. He is at the Abbott estate in Northern Kentucky, and will be giving us an update on all things that have been going on with him and his cancer journey. So, Steve, I'm guessing that you're going to be spending your time in the Abbott estate until we get to our cancer journey experience.
It's starting to feel that way. I hope not. I miss you guys. But we'll see what happens. Because as you know, my white blood count dropped yesterday, and it's probably going to happen more than once. So we'll see.
Yep. But we're going to have to.
I'm optimistic.
We're going to have to bring our viewers up to speed, because I think the last time when we had left it, you were looking at the clinical trial down at MD Anderson, and there's a lot that we need to do to bring everybody up to speed. So if you would like to kind of take us from trying to think where we left off.
I think where we left off. It was not long after the Caris report came back. So I think the Caris report came back and noted the ARV7 splice variant, which indicated that the hormone therapy, I was becoming resistant to hormone therapy. And so that's what led to the possibility of maybe going to MD Anderson and I'm going to ask you to explain to our viewers what this is, but for a radioligand-based treatment, which was the 177 PSMA, LU-177 PSMA 617.
That sounded way medical, Steve.
It did. But it's a numbers thing. I'm a numbers guy. So we were looking at a PSMA targeted trial down there that fell through because of the ARV7 splice variant. But now there's a possibility that I could still end up in some sort of trial down at MD Anderson. We'll see. But one thing I wanted you to kind of explain, because this falls right in your wheelhouse, is there's been some talk with my medical oncologist about maybe getting 3 chemo treatments in, because I'm now, as you know, I just started chemo, a single agent Taxotere chemotherapy regimen. And so there's been some talk that maybe we look, after treatment number 3 and consider, depending on what the possibilities are, consider switching to like a PSMA targeted trial. So can you explain what a PSMA targeted treatment is?
So with the PSMA targeted treatments, the easiest way to explain that is that, you have this radioisotope that we've talked about the PSMA scans on previous episodes, where you get injected and it essentially finds the surface of those prostate cells that are cancerous and that are putting off that, it's looking for that prostate membrane. And so what happens with this treatment is that they've developed a special kind of, like, they've taken that radioisotope and they've given it a machine gun and sent it out with a target that it's already been able to identify. They've already proven how successful the test is at identifying that prostate membrane. And so it finds those cancer cells, and now we've equipped it with tools to destroy those cells. So it's a very targeted, cancer-specific treatment.
Yeah, exactly. And since we last talked, I did have another PSMA PET scan. I did have that down at MD Anderson in mid-April, and there were some findings on that. And so what we've since found out is that there's been maybe 2 or 3 more areas pop up. And so, I don't know, would you agree, Jill? In the past, I've always been kind of one step ahead of this thing. I think advanced prostate cancer is starting to act like advanced prostate cancer now, I think.
Right. And you're starting to have to be looking at more aggressive treatment options versus just the run-of-the-mill, off-the-shelf type of options.
Yeah. So since we've last talked, I did go down there. I've had, innumerable tests run. I did just finish radiation about 3 or 4 weeks ago. I got a week off from treatment and then started chemo on Monday the 27th. And so things are going pretty well, I think. I mean, I feel pretty good. I'm only one treatment in, but I feel like I'm tolerating it pretty well. There's some side effects that you're aware of that most people experience, I think. But otherwise fine. And other than this white blood count that we talked about, which is effectively, correct me if I'm wrong, but effectively just depresses your immune system, so you're not really able to ward off infection very well.
Right.
And so that's why I'm sitting here in my wine cellar.
Absolutely. So to kind of bring everybody up to speed, when Steve found out that he was not eligible for the trial down at MD Anderson, we talked with the physician that was the investigator on the trial at MD Anderson, who is one of the top GU malignancy physicians in the country. We talked with his local medical oncologist, his local radiation oncologist, and then the team here at CCA. And we all kind of collaborated and determined that while we were still looking to do a PSMA based treatment, that the obvious next best step was to move forward with single agent Taxotere. And so Steve got his first dose last Monday. So he's about 10, 11 days out now from his first treatment. He had his blood counts done yesterday, which is very common. Standardly, when you're going through chemotherapy, you have your counts checked weekly to make sure that they're staying at a safe level. Because with chemotherapy, I was explaining this to Steve earlier today, what it does is it attacks rapidly growing cells, which is what cancer cells are. However, our white blood cells, our red blood cells, and our platelets are also rapidly dividing. And in the process, they get destroyed as well. The difference between cancer and healthy cells is that healthy cells actually have the ability to repair themselves. And so you will regrow new and healthy cells. However, that doesn't negate the fact that we still need to watch you closely to make sure that those cells don't drop into what we call like a danger zone. And so when Steve got his CBC done yesterday, his white blood count came back at 0.1. You can't get much less than that other than 0. Essentially what that told everyone was that his immune system was severely suppressed and that we needed to take some steps to ensure that he didn't develop an infection. So he was started on antibiotics. He's on an antiviral, and he's been deemed the bubble boy for the foreseeable future. They're working on getting approval for a medication that boosts the white blood cells. But Steve, just to kind of like, as we're kind of coming to an end of our episode here, can you just kind of share a little bit about, what the last 10 days have looked like? Because I feel like a lot of our viewers and a lot of people in general just think that chemo is god awful and, that you're going to be hugging a toilet bowl and that it's just like, it's not tolerable and life comes to a screeching halt. Can you talk just a little bit about what the last 10 days have looked like?
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that, Jill, because I posted my blog entry this morning. I wrote it at 2:45 a.m. because I couldn't sleep. Anyway, that's one thing I mentioned is, even though Diana had gone through it, my wife had gone through it, I wasn't the one sitting in the chair at the time, so I didn't really know what to expect. But, I thought it was going to be, at the very least, I thought it was going to be uncomfortable. I thought there might be times where I might feel cold, something cold going through me, or hot, or a burning sensation. I didn't know what to expect, but it was literally just like nothing happened. I mean, I sat in a chair for a couple hours. I never felt a thing, and for the most part, other than coming home, maybe feeling a little bit tired here and there. And I was going to ask you about that. I mentioned to you yesterday my red blood cell and my hematocrit and things like that all came back low, which never happens for me. And I'm assuming that's what causes the fatigue with chemo, is when you lose the red blood cells?
Yes. Well, because your red blood cells are they're your worker bees. They carry your nutrients, they carry your oxygen, they carry that to all of the cells in your body. So those start getting a little low, and everything kind of feels like it's slowing down for you.
Yeah. So no, I mean it's not been a problem. I know it'll be somewhat cumulative as we go, but I'm able to taste things. I'm able to eat things. I still have my appetite. Now stuff will start getting real when I lose my hair, or if I lose any hair. Nobody's going to be happy, particularly me. But because you know how I am with my hair.
I know, so, and I'm pretty sure you have the best hair out of all of us. So, but
it's been fine, and that was I did try to get that point across in my blog today too. I always try to convey information that I think that might be helpful to somebody, and for someone that hasn't gone through it before, what I've experienced so far is no reason to not have treatment. It'll impact your life a bit. It'll impact your lifestyle a bit. But I'm working. I'm getting things done. I'm here hanging out with my dogs, and life is good. So
and from the view that we see right now, it doesn't look like a bad place to be hunkering down. So
no, it's really not. It's really not.
So
other than the temptation on the wall behind me, but
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, that is.
And I've been told I can't have much of that. Right?
No, you cannot. Everything in moderation. So you can have a glass, but not a bottle.
Okay. All right. Gotcha.
But
all right.
So that is about all the time that we have for today. If you have made it all the way through this episode, thank you so much for watching us all the way to the end. Make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and tap the bell so that you never miss any of the content. Next week, we actually have Dr. Basil Williams from the University of Cincinnati and our very own Dr. Lemming and Sherry. Dr. Basil is Dr. Williams is a specialist in ocular cancers or cancers of the eye. So the fun thing is that, I've already kind of previewed that episode, and he absolutely crushed it. There is no doctor talk. He nailed it in how he explains everything for next week's episode. So, I hope everybody decides to tune in, and thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next week.